Welcome to episode 157 of Broadsheet Hustle. I'm your host, Tommy Nanny, bringing you an action-packed show, a twofold show today as we cover the PGA Championship, followed by the Preakness, which is just the only race we're going to cover on that particular card, not traditionally a great card. And then the PGA we're going to cover. Don't have our normal host when it comes to golf, horse racing, because it's a little bit of a mix-up show. But I do have Jason Santa, as always.
Hey, Tom, what's going on?
Jason, what's up? And I have Jimmy the Chalk.
What's up, Tom?
What is up? All right. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Jib and Nina's Pizza. You tried the rest. Now I'll try the best. Now let's get into the 107th PGA Championship. This is the second major on the card now, which has been done for how many years now?
5 or 6, I think.
Has it been that long?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they moved it on the calendar. This will be, I believe, the second time. It'll be held at Quail Hollow Golf Course in Charlotte, North Carolina. So we have a little bit of track history when it comes to the PGA. And usually, as we do with the PGA, we always kick it off with Jason to get started. He has some good statistics around yardage and the pars, and sometimes we have some holes, and then Chalky might have a little bit to add if Jason misses anything. So why don't we jump right into it? Jason, kick us off.
All right. So this is a 7,626-yard course, so it's very long. It's actually the second longest course on the tour. The first longest. You guys want to take a guess?
Bethpage?
No.
Regular tour stop.
We were there. We were at this course.
Oh, Torrey Pines.
Torrey Pines. Yep. So Torrey Pines is the longest. This is a par 71. So it's a little longer than when they last had the PGA here, which was in 2017. That was the last time Quail Hollow hosted. Justin Thomas did win that year. This course is actually on the tour. So it's usually Wells Fargo, which now changed to Truist. So if you guys recall, last week it was actually in Philadelphia at the Philadelphia Cricket Club, and it was there because they were hosting the PGA this week. So they had to find a new course for the Truist. So it'll be back there next year at Quail Hollow. So just to continue, there's 156 players in the field. Top 70 will make the cut. I did find a over-under score. So obviously it's a par 71. So par would be 284 strokes. The over-under is 273.5 for the winner. So that would be like 10.5 under is what they're estimating. There are 3 par 5s on the course, and that would be holes 7, 10, and 15. And they're pretty much the easiest holes on the course. You pretty much have to, if you're going to score on this course, you have to birdie these holes. So they're going to be important. The 3-hole finale is called the Green Mile, and it's pretty much like the 3 of the 4 toughest holes on the course make up this Green Mile. So the 16th hole is a 529-yard par 4 with a bunker that's in like a really bad spot, I think on your drive. So that's actually the 4th hardest hole on the course. The 17th hole is a 222-yard par 3. The tee shot's completely over water. There's a lot of water on this course. I think at least 6 holes like have a lot of water around them. So could be some water balls. But this is a really tough par 3. It's actually the second toughest hole on the course. And then the 18th hole is a 494-yard par 4. A creek runs down the left-hand side of the hole, and it's the hardest hole on the course. So pretty crazy. Like going down the stretch, if you have a one or 2 stroke lead, you're not guaranteed to stick around there. The greens are Poa Travalis. And last year, so I do have a note on last year. Last year, the 2024 Wells Fargo, which going forward was the Truist, but the Wells Fargo was there. Rory McIlroy won. Xander Schauffele finished second. On was third. Jason Day and M tied for fourth. So those guys may like the course. That's all I have for the course. I don't know. Did you want me to get into what I used to handicap, or do you want to just?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Chalky, anything?
So Jason covered a lot of it. We probably ended up looking at the same breakdown. But the if you're looking for comparison courses, Torrey Pines, South, Bay Hill, Murfield Village, Memorial Park, Riviera, Wingfoot, Southern Hills, Valhalla, and Bethpage Black are courses that have crossover to Quail Hollow. So folks that have won or played well in those courses may have an advantage this week. Plus, obviously, you have an extensive history since this is a year-by-year course that they play all the time.
Yeah, they always don't increase the difficulty usually for a major, I'm sure. So I don't know what that means if they.
They renovated it ahead of the 2017 PGA. Was that the year that they were there?
Yeah, I think it played more difficult too that year than.
It was -8. They haven't changed it much year over year. So there wasn't a complete renovation that you see a lot for the U.S. Opens, where the course will completely shut down one or whatever.
Your microphone cut off or something. Your mic is.
They like switched to your computers. It seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah, so some of the things that I had here written down, Jason, you kind of glossed over a little, but maybe not specifically said. So there's 5 par 4s that are over 480 yards.
Yep.
3 of them are between 505 and 530. So that's extremely long. Typically, on this course, 68% of approach shots are played beyond 175 yards. Which is 20% higher than your tour average on typical courses. So you're going to be hitting a lot of long irons into the greens. Now, I think the weather is supposed to be rainy leading up to it, so it could soften the greens a little early.
Yeah.
But maybe by Sunday, they get a little firmer, so that could be something to watch, and you might see some higher scoring or lower scoring, whatever it's called, on a Sunday. 85%. Of the club being used off the tee as a driver, which is very high compared to most PGA courses. So again, then you'll get into that. We'll all get into that. So obviously that's going to be a key when you're looking at who you might want to play.
Yeah.
But you have to be accurate too. So obviously you have to play very well. And Xander Schauffele's quoted as saying it's a big boy golf course. That was his quote. So
They're
I have one quote that I didn't get to fit in from the course that I wanted to throw in. So this is from 6-time PGA Tour winner Hunter Mahan. I guess I would say Quail Hollow is like a Kardashian. It's very modern, beautiful, and well kept, but it lacks a soul or character.
funny.
yeah, it's I haven't heard from Hunter Meehan in a long time.
Yeah, I remember.
But yeah, so that's some of the course facts. Jason, you said some of the, go ahead.
I was just going to throw one interesting thing in because you mentioned the rain. You know how these guys like to play the course during the week. So if it's raining up until Thursday, they're probably not going to play until Thursday will be the first time they kind of get on there. I mean, obviously they played there before, most of them, but they play Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah,
there.
and it also it affects the caddies because they walk the course, they roll the balls on the green. They traditionally know like where the pin placement is going to be, so they'll practice like where if they're on this ledge or if they're on that ledge to get an idea. So that could factor. And now the only thing with that is it's a level playing field because none of the golfers are going to have the advantage of being able to do it.
Yeah, Monday was a complete washout for practice, and then it sounds like it was raining today, but they might have been able to get some practice in. I wasn't able to see, but nobody got to practice yesterday.
Yeah, so Jason, you mentioned things that you look for, and we alluded to some of it as we're giving the description.
Yeah, so obviously driving, long drivers, right? So I look for some bombers, which you'll see in some of my bets. Long iron play. iron play will probably be important too, like on the par threes and stuff. Putting, right? Putting is going to be important here. I mean, it's usually always important, but I look mostly at long bombers and putters. So I did strokes gained off the tee, putting, did a little approach to green. So those are the things I looked at.
Yeah, one thing, and I could probably try to find it. I should have had it up. But in 2017, the guys, if you looked at the leaderboard, it was guys that were not going into it with traditionally like pretty good off the tee. So it was the opposite of what you just said, but it was an outlier. That was not the typical way Quail Hollow plays.
I have another fact on that. So I told you Thomas won. That week, he was 62nd out of, I don't know how many were there, on hitting the fairway.
Yeah, and I think Francesco Molinari was one who was traditionally like not great off the tee. There was
Yeah.
like a whole slew of them. So I don't have enough detail of why that happened, but from the article I read, it sounded like it was
Yeah.
an outlier. That's not, if you go into it thinking that again, you might get, I forget to say, your head stuck in the mud on that. So
Yeah.
yeah, Chalky, anything when you were going through evaluating the players that kind of stuck out?
I mean, just some statistics. So the last two times this course has played to a tournament, the winners were top 5 in strokes gained for the week, which obviously on the approach, I should say, which makes sense, obviously. But the iron accuracy is going to be important. And again, with the driving, there's not a big penalty for missing the fairways. So if you can bomb it, you don't get yourself in as much trouble necessarily. So driving distance and strokes gained approach are the two metrics I weighed heaviest with.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to come. Go ahead, Jeez.
I was just going to say, I did hear one other stat, and I don't have the exact fact of it, but it'll make sense. So since they moved this to May, the PGA, and made it the second major, I think everyone except one, the winner was top 10 in the Masters, which I thought was
Yeah. So their form lines, it makes
their
sense.
form. Yeah. And I guess playing well at Augusta, maybe kind of translate.
Yeah, with their fast greens.
For PGA Championship.
Because the one thing here is the greens are Bermuda grass and they're fast. So it's that same idea. I mean, that's Augusta is typically fast green. What makes it hard though is, you can look at statistics on driving accuracy, driving distance, but it's like you don't know who's going to have the shot and who's not going to have the shot because on the week that they're playing, because the difference is going to be you're going to be hitting a ball say you're hitting at 185, but you're out of the fairway. Where somebody who hit a little bit longer is hitting at 175, but now they're in the rough. So you're still hitting a long iron into the green, but you got one guy that's going to be able to, sit it soft, and one guy that's not going to be able. So it really just come down to, the guys that can hit it long, but keep it fairly accurate because, the Corey Connors of the world who maybe keep it accurate, but they're now hitting 210 into the green. So obviously it's what brings up the handicapping aspect of it, and you try to predict who's going to be able to do it. But you could see a little bit of chaos because of that as well. But all right, I have I don't know how you want to do it. I have Kevin's picks. I can go and I could do him last because we can just read them off. There's no real content behind them. We could just jump into typically what we have done on these is, who's the one guy you think is going to win the tournament. You got to pick one guy, and then we get into who also is likely to win the tournament. And then obviously long shots, guys that top 10 and make the cut, etc. So Jason, you got $100. You got to bet the PGA Championship. Who are you taking?
So I'm only going to give you one guy now, but I'm going to tell you that I really think out of my win bets, only 2 really have a legit shot to win. And then I have 6 win bets, so 2 with a legit shot, and then the other ones are kind of just taking a shot. But I think DeChambeau is going to win this. He's just, this course sounds like it's perfect for him. He's been really playing well in these majors. He might, have something up his, from, what kind of happened to him on the last day at the Masters. He's playing. I think he just won the last.
Won his first live tournament since 23, Korea.
Right, which was the last live tournament. He's totally in form. I mean, and I will tell you one thing before I let you guys go with how I bet DeChambeau. So he was 12-1 outright, but there's another bet in there that DraftKings has and also FanDuel has, which is a bet without Scheffler and McIlroy. So, I mean, the odds for DeChambeau just to win outright were 12-1. The odds that I got for him without without McIlroy and Scheffler were 10-1. Isn't it worth to bet 10-1 on? I mean,
Yeah, it seems not right.
it's insane.
Isn't is he
No.
third? Is he third in odds?
He's third in odds. Now, as you go further down the list, when I give my other names, it's a little more exaggerated, the difference. But it's
Sure.
it's still a good value bet to me. Because I'm like, if you go into, because I was talking to
Yeah,
Tom.
but you're in that circumstance. You're saying the favorite's 10-1 now. The favorite to win the entire championship's 10-1.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
realistically the favorite's 4-1. Two guys are basically 4-1.
Right.
So
Right.
it's
And-
definitely value.
And the reason it's value, because, I was talking to Tommy in the last tournament where I had Straka without. Now, that without was insane. It was without McIlroy, Morikawa, Oberg, and one other guy. It was like without four guys. So I'm like, I went in. Oh, and Justin Thomas. So I went into Sunday, and as the day went on, I'm like, I'm going to bet Thomas. I already have Straka. If Thomas wins and Straka finishes second, I'm going to hit both bets, right? Or if Thomas wins, I'm going to hit that. Or if Straka wins, I'm going to hit that. So Straka wound up winning. But I think it's an insane value that people should take advantage of.
Yeah, you just got to be able to live without. If he wins, you gave up X amount of odds. So
Yeah.
In that case, it's only 12-1 versus 10-1. But the Straka might have been, I don't know what it was, 100-1 versus 70-1.
So I got 30-1 on Straka, and I think it might have been like 45 or 50.
Right.
For real.
So as long as you can live with that and you think it's value, yeah,
Yeah.
go for it.
Yeah.
Chalky, who's your one guy?
I'm sorry to inform you, but your microphone once again went out. We hear you, but that's fine. Okay.
Did you say you're stuck in a well, Timmy? And sorry, I ran off camera there for a second. I had a cat emergency. I had to let upstairs. Bryson DeChambeau. So, oh boy. So I have two guys that can win this tournament, and I have one star next to a guy that I was going to give as my one pick. All right, let me give you.
If it's DeChambeau, you just give it, man. Just give it.
Let me give you Kevin's pick real quick. So Kevin he actually gave three guys, but his first guy that he gave was Bryson DeChambeau. Now he has plus 950 written here. I don't know when he looked or.
So he might have bet that today.
Okay.
His odds did drop.
So
I bet this like 2 days ago.
All right. So I will. My one guy is Bryson DeChambeau. So, I didn't go into all the details around. I mean, we know he's long off the tee. We know all that stuff. But to one of the biggest things is what Jason said. His short game and his lag putting game really struggled in the Masters. And from everything I read, he went, knowing him and read it as well. And I don't think it's BS. He completely was dialed into practicing, fixing that part of his game, his short game, which historically has been good. So that was a little bit of an outlier. So he worked hard to just improve that aspect. So if he keeps his long part, as I'm sure he will, and he obviously plays back to that. Also, a big factor is sand, being able to hit out of the sand here. There's a lot of bunkers, and we know he's great out of the sand.
Yeah.
So I had DeChambeau as well. I mean, so it's a 4 for 4 here on the Broadsheet Hustle podcast for DeChambeau.
You know what that means?
For a guy he wasn't
Yeah.
already a multi-millionaire, I'd feel bad for him. All right. So some of the other picks that Kevin had, just as guys that can win. JT in quotes, he wrote, "Of course." So I
Right.
think it's standard at this point. And Xander Schauffele, both of those guys he has written down as plus 2,200.
Yeah.
Jason, you said there was 6 guys total. One other that you really, really think can win. What was that?
So the one other guy I think that could win is now. Listen, not that I don't think McIlroy and Scheffler could win. I do have an opinion on a matchup with those two, but I think Xander Schauffele is coming into form. He played well last week. I think there's value on Xander Schauffele, so he's my other legit win bet. Right now, did you want me to give the other 4 guys that as my longer shot?
Yeah, you might. I mean, they're win guy candidates, so go for it.
So I'm taking a shot on Neiman. I mean, he's long. He rarely shows up in these majors, but he just I think he's won 4 out of the last 5. Like his live stats.
Yeah, it's just
are
hard
insane.
to trust anybody outside of DeChambeau for the.
It is,
Right.
but I mean the talent's there. So it's the talent's there. So I took a shot on him. I'm really high on Patrick Reed this week. You guys know I like Patrick Reed. With the Masters, but he's been playing well too. And this course, he played well. He's got good history at this course. 80-1, took a shot. Minwoo Lee, another guy who's a bomber. He's a good putter. He's got crazy talent. I look at the PGA Championship as like the redheaded stepchild of the majors, right? If a non-legit guy is going to win a major, I think it's going to be the PGA.
I say I would think it's the British Open. Whatever.
Well, I think a specific type of golfer could win the British Open, right?
But you'll get like those weird English outliers.
Yeah, you will.
There's strange.
You will, but Minwoo Lee, I forget what did I get on him. I do have it here, 60-1.
90-1 now.
Well, I did without McIlroy.
Oh, right, yeah.
Right. All my win bets are without McIlroy and Scheffler, right? And then lastly, and I'm not crazy about this one because I bet it before the end of last week. But I bet Straka. I don't think he's going to win back to back, obviously, but I got Straka bets. Obviously, I'm not taking him out, so took a shot. Again, all of these win bets are without McIlroy and Scheffler.
Okay, Timmy O'Toole, are you out of the well?
All right, so I won't go too depth, but my other win bet at the lower numbers would be Xander Schauffele for reasons already discussed. Sorry. He won this last year. He has played well at this course in the past. So, if I had to take one of either Rory or Scotty, I'll say Rory because horse for course, but, nothing too crazy there. I also, on the longer end, have Straka and Corey Connors. And of the bombs, and again, Straka, Connors, and these next 2 guys are probably more like top 10 or top 20. Thomas Detry, who is like 200 plus to 1. And then a guy who I actually kind of like for top 20, who is top 5 in both strokes gained approach and distance off the tee, Dean Burmeister, who is 100 and something to 1.
He's going to be part of my
140 to 1
my
to
own
win.
He's going to be part of my own make the cut bet.
Yeah. So
Yeah, so I did Jason Kevin's other guys. I just don't know if Xander's ready yet. I was thinking about that. Something still doesn't look like he's ready yet, but could be. Rory, I read stuff like the monkey's off his back. I actually think it hurts him. I think that drive he's gonna like ease up a little bit and not have that killer instinct. But no, I went on a limb. My other guy that I think can win is a fellow named Scott Scheffler. So I took
Yeah.
a shot. I honestly think it's Scheffler DeChambeau. Like I, again, some of the things with Scheffler,
Yeah.
we know he can hit the ball. We know what his strokes gained are, approach,
Yeah.
ball strike, and it's been putting. He's finished now top 5 in strokes gained putting 3 of his last 4 starts. Which, I mean, forget if you take his name away, you're going to say this guy can putt.
Yeah.
He's inside the top 25 now overall for strokes gained, where last year he was 77.
Yeah.
That's a huge jump. And obviously last tournament he played in, he won wire to wire and he just annihilated everybody. So I don't know. It seems like he's figuring out putting a little bit.
Oh,
We've always
yeah.
said if he figures it out completely, he's going to be unstoppable. So.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I'm gonna have Scheffler bet.
No,
I'm
yeah.
gonna do parlays. Like I'm gonna use this one parlay I keep hearing is like if Caitlin Clark is winning the championship this year. So like I think her team is like 3rd in odds in the WNBA. So like I'm gonna parlay that. I'm definitely I haven't found a matchup yet of Scheffler versus McIlroy, but I'm all over Scheffler in that.
Yeah.
All over him.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm just saying that, like, I know you're saying he can win too, but I mean, I legitimately think there's 2 guys that can win this tournament. I mean, in golf, it's just like these chalky guys are just dominating anymore. You're not seeing these like no names really. I mean, I know Spawn came out of nowhere and almost did beat Rory, but ultimately Rory did win. Other guys, and to Chalky's point, these are probably more like top 10 guys, but I do have as possibilities. Jason Day and Hideki Matsuyama were 2 guys.
Only thing about Day was he withdrew last week, so I gotta make sure he's either playing or helping.
Yeah, he could have been saving, for this week. But yeah, that's true. And then Minwoo Lee was one of the guys. I mean, he's second only to Bryson DeChambeau in carry distance off the tee. So his ball carrying before, which is just insane. He's played 66 rounds on fast greens, and he's 2 strokes. He has above 2 shots strokes gained on those greens, so he putts well on fast greens. And then Max Homa as an absolute bomb. I think he's like 160 to 1 right now, but he finished seventh at Truist off the tee. He got his first tour win at Quail Hollow back in the day, so maybe he's coming back into form a little bit with a decent showing at Truist. He's played well at Quail Hollow before, so I thought just as a long shot. Jason, you had do we want to get into who we thought were to make the cut guys, and we can, or do you have top 20, top 10?
Yeah, I got top 20.
Yeah,
then also a bet that I believe I forgot to give out last time, for the Masters that I hit. So I'm going to definitely remember to give them out now is the first round leader. So every win bet I gave you, I'm also betting first round to lead. I also threw in some bombs. I think Sam Burns kind of fits the mold for this course too.
He cut his balls off. I mean,
and he hits pretty far. 80 to 1 to lead after the first round. I mean, that's a guy that's not going to win the tournament, but
yeah, the reason his shots gained off approach is bad.
Right.
Bad.
He's got a couple of qualities that kind of fit, and he doesn't. So, I mean, a guy like that could play his ass off for the first day and lead, right? Burmester, who Chalky mentioned, he was 90 to 1 to lead after the first round. I took a shot on Victor Hovland. He was 45 to 1 to lead after the first round. Another guy he's probably not going to win, but he could rip off a great round and lead. And then Cantlay is another guy who never wins, but he could rip off a great round, and he was 50 to 1. So
the easiest bet in all sports is when Cantlay's 10, 15 shots off the lead going to round 4. Whoever he's playing, you bet Cantlay in the matchup because he's going to shoot 7, 8 under and finish in 5th or 6th or 4th, but never have a chance to win.
Yeah, so those are my first round leaders. If you guys have any, I'll let you go. Or if not, I'll just go into my top 20s.
No, I don't really have first round. I mean, I have some make the cut bombs. I guess you could say they couldn't win the first round, but no specifics on first round leaders.
All right, well, maybe Chalky goes his top 20, and then I'll come back with mine.
So no, nothing addition. The second group of guys I gave are really my top 20 plays, so I don't have anybody else to throw in there other than the 4 I gave out.
Yeah, and I have a couple here from Kevin. So he had top 10 Patrick Reed in the top 10. His top 20 Justin Rose, Daniel Berger, and Taylor Pendrift. And then he has just made the cut, which we'll get into. So that was some of his top 10, top 20 type of guys. Okay. What did you say now, Jason? Did you want to?
I'm just throwing my top 20s.
Okay.
Basically all the guys I mentioned except one guy. I'll start with him. So Fleetwood is a type of guy who's just a top 20 guy. I mean, he could possibly lead after the first round, but maybe I should throw a bet in for him. But I got him at 150. I got Burmester at 450. I got Burns at 360. Minwoo Lee is 280. Reed's 250. Shoffley was plus money. So plus 100. Even, I'll throw that in. Straka was 250, and then Cantlay was 160, and Neiman was 130. So they're all my top 20 bets.
Yeah, and I got something here that I found kind of sneaky. Not a top 20, but I got a miss the cut guy. And for my miss the cut, he weighs about 3 bills or so, and he's a big time choke. Jimmy probably likes him because they're from the same country. Shane,
I know you're going to touch that.
Shane Lowry, who had one of the worst putts I've ever seen in competition under pressure on that putt on 18 last week at Truett.
Brutal.
Which could stay with him, but look at his Quail Hollow rounds. He 47th, miscut, 65th, 46th, miscut, which was the PGA. So he missed the cut in 2017 at PGA. So he missed the cut twice, and he's never been above 45th in the 3 other rounds at Quail Hollow. So he does not like this course.
Yeah.
And I think it was like plus 210 to miss the cut. So, I mean, that's a great parlay. You throw him in with something else.
That's awesome.
So yeah, something I did fine. All right, let's get into make the cut. So we're going to build our actual make the cut that we do live on the air. I believe I screwed us last time with my guy was horrendous. I gave out 4 or 5 make the cut guys. I think he was the only one that didn't make the cut, and that's the one that ultimately decided to go with for the pod make the cut parlay. So I'll give out Kevin's first since he's not here, and Chalky, do you have DraftKings live so you can?
Yes, I do.
Chalky, Kevin, I think uses FanDuel, so you might want to, if it's easy enough for you to pull up, you might want to use FanDuel.
I can do FanDuel. I will pull it up.
So,
but Tommy, if you want to get started.
Yeah. So Gary Woodland was his make the cut guy, and he has him here at minus 140. So Chalky, you could verify if that's right or wrong.
It's a pretty
140 is the DraftKings price. I'll go through FanDuel once we get through this.
All right, and Jason, who's your guy?
So I gave out Patrick Reed for the Masters. I'm going to give you Patrick Reed for the PGA Championship.
And what is his? What do we got him?
I think he was either 235 or like around there, like 225 or 235.
235 on DraftKings.
All right, now I'm gonna go with Minwoo Lee, who we talked about, and he was minus 225 on DraftKings. So nothing crazy this time.
And then I have Corey Connors, who is, I guess, the chalkiest of the picks at minus 265.
So we'll plug that in and see what that gets you.
Probably around 4 to 1-ish, I would think.
Yeah, so for DraftKings, that is plus 386. And I have FanDuel up now, so we will run through that. This might be worse. Connors to make the cut is minus 400 on FanDuel. Let's see here. You had Minwoo Lee, right, Tom? That's minus 260. Patrick Reed is minus 280. And
we're going to own him.
I don't even see Gary Woodland on here. No.
Well, you know what?
He's not coming up on make the cut here on FanDuel.
I could be wrong because he did give DraftKings odds, so maybe he does.
Yeah, he sent the drafting odds.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, because I don't see they don't have they have much less on make the cut right now on FanDuel. So yeah, no Woodland on this.
So it's what was the so the final odds were what?
386. So it's close to
386.
4-1.
Yeah,
That's
so I did have some
That's
other
one.
guys.
Let's
Some
just
other-
get it.
Yeah, that's right. I did have some other make the cut guys much lower, but obviously on the riskier side. Ryan Fox was minus 140 to make the cut. Max Homa, who I alluded to, minus 130. Jacob Bridgman was minus 120. He's another unbelievable putter. I don't got this guy's first name, but Norgard, minus 115. He's a bomber off. I think I had stats for him as
Nikolai.
yeah.
think.
There's two of them. There's
Oh
two.
yeah, there is
Rasmus, right? And then Nikolai, I think.
The one that can hit the ball off the tee far. I don't know which one that was.
well, so the one that's minus 15 is Nicholas.
So Nicholas, and then Takuma Kanya at plus 115. There's a plus guy to make the cut. He's on the list twice for actually putting, and he had approach. So maybe he could sneak in there for make the cuts. Jason, did you have any other guys, or pretty much everything we alluded to?
I'm going to put my own bet in. I'm going to use Reed, Fleetwood, Burmester, Minwoo Lee, and Burns.
So 5
I'm
guys. So that'd be
I'm going to do a 5-guyer.
Okay. Anything else, guys, before we move to the Preakness? Pretty much covered everything when it comes to the PGA Championship, right? Chalky.
I think we covered it.
Okay, let's move on to the Preakness now. Not the best race. We got, let's see, 1, 2, 3 horses out of the Derby. Is that right?
Yes.
Yep. You got 3 Derby horses. You do have journalism. So obviously the Derby favorite will be, I think he was listed as 8-5 on the morning line for the Preakness.
Yeah, it'll be a lot lower.
He's not going to be 8-5.
No
That was kind of
chance.
good. I don't know. Are we doing horse by horse? Or are we just giving out our opinions?
I'm prepared to do either. So if you guys, I mean, we don't have to give a paragraph about each horse.
Yeah. All
We
right.
do
We can run
Yeah,
through it. It's
yeah.
been quick. All right. So let me just pull up the entries. So I have the odds. When is it? The 17th?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So, all right. Coming out of the one hole is going to be Goal Oriented, trained by Baffert. He's currently at 6-1, ridden by Flavian Pratt. Jason, thoughts?
Yeah, so I think he's going to be part of a 3-horse pace. He's probably going to be pressured by the 3 and the 8 horse. And I thought he legitimately could get second. I just think there's only one horse that could win. So, I don't see him winning, but I think he could hit second.
Yeah, I do think there's a couple of horses that are faster than him early on outside. So he could be part of the pace. He could be sitting right off the pace, but he's going to be forward. I mean, he did win his 6-furlong race off the pace. But then once he went around 2 turns, he kind of dominated on Derby Day, actually, in the slop. And I remember watching that race. He hung on. I mean, he set a pretty nice clip, and he was able to hang on. So it was a pretty impressive race. I got it the same way. I think he's one of 2 horses that can get second. And this is one of them. Goal Oriented or Baffert is one of the horses that I think can get second. Chalky?
Pretty much the same as you guys. If for some reason he gets on the lead alone, he maybe could win, but I think there'll be enough pressure that he won't get that scenario. So gets a piece perhaps, but is not going to win.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. I mean, was it last year's Preakness? It sure looked like Baffert gifted Lucas the lead with taking his outside horse. So, Lucas's horse is one of the pace presents, so maybe he gets. But there is another horse that should be faster than all of them, who we'll get to. Chalky, journalism. He's the number 2 horse, and like I said, he's 8-5, Derby favorite. He'll be the Preakness favorite. Ran second in the Derby. Ran a good race. I mean, we covered it in the recap. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this is the horse to beat as far as talent. It kind of reminds a little bit of Epicenter's path a couple years ago. Has a nice spring, goes off as the mild favorite in the Derby, and ends up running second, getting caught. Um, the two knocks, if you want to go against him, are can he run back in 2 weeks, and is there going to be enough pace in front? He can be close enough to the pace, but he's not going to go on it. So if you have an early voting type scenario where Epicenter couldn't get by, that would be another scenario where he doesn't win, but he might not get value at 6 to 5 or even money, whatever he goes at him, but he's got to be the top pick because he's just that good.
Yeah, and if you remember, Epicenter actually had a bad trip too. He
Right.
didn't catch him because he got he didn't come out of the gate or he got hit out of the gate and blah. So Jason.
Yeah, I mean, to me, like this he's going to sit mid pack. I think he should win by lengths in this race. I don't think McCarthy would run him if he didn't think he was, solid enough, to bounce back after 2 weeks. And most of the time, horses that run really well in the Derby come right back, and if they run in the Preakness, they run the race. So I don't see who's beating this horse.
Yeah, I'm the sentiment. I mean, I was the same sentiment. Because he didn't announce that he was running the Preakness for a while, so that leads me to believe that McCarthy wanted to wait, make sure,
Yeah,
doing all the steps. He's eating, he trained back, he ran back, he got his weight, all the things that um, a horse needs to do to look ready to run again. So I don't see it being a problem. Historically, being able to run in this race off the Derby has never been a problem. There's trainers that'll argue it's easier to run off of 2 weeks than it is
right.
off of 8 weeks. So I think he's gonna shit a great trip. Chalky mentioned about the pace. I mean, honestly, I think it's one of those where if it's fast, he wins pretty easily, and if it's not that fast, he's gonna be close to the pace.
Yeah.
And he's just much better. It's not like you got horses that are just that. I mean, unless somebody takes a huge jump, and he's gonna blow by himself. I tend to think it's a fairly easy, and I mean, I think he's like 3 to 5, right?
I think maybe less, but yeah, at least 35.
Yeah. So yeah, so journalism's gonna take that. All right, the third horse is American Promise, who is Dwayne Lucas. He's 15 to run. He was one of the horses that ran out of the Derby. He did not run very well. I'll start this one. He could become a pace presence. I mean, he's ran on the pace. He's tried to run on the pace in the Derby. He controlled the pace in the Virginia Derby. I don't see this horse factoring in the race at all. It looks like he's gonna. If he is up there, I think he stops again, and he's a competitor for potentially last. Jason.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's going to be part of the pace. Is really one of his only good races, that Virginia Derby, which, I'm whatever. Just not a fan. He's a toss for me. Not using anywhere.
Chalky.
Somehow this horse got bet down to 12, 13 to 1 in the Derby. I couldn't bet that horse with Monopoly money if you gave it to me. And no, he's got no chance to win here.
Yeah, you know what? I think I did see that Portnoy, he that was like his pick for the Derby.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I did see that.
So that could factor. I mean, he's got a lot of followers.
Certainly could, yeah.
Yeah, that could answer why his odds dropped. All right, the 4 horse is Heart of Honor. Trainer Jamie Osborne, jockey Seffi Osborne. So last time we seen this horse was the
UAE Derby.
who he ran against Amaya Daytona, who did run in the Derby. Jason, you're up.
I think Amaya Daytona just finished the Derby. So, this horse just, I mean, he's going to stalk, but I just don't think he seems fast enough. He's another toss for me.
Yeah, traditionally, like a rule of thumb, you look at time forms, you deduct 20 buyer points. Like if you wanted to come up with a buy, I mean,
Yeah.
you're talking he's in like the 70s, low 80s. Does not look even remotely fast enough to compete in this race. Toss. Chalky.
No.
Okay, the 5 horse is Pay Billy. He's 20 to 1. He's trained by Michael Gorham. Jockey is Raul Mena. I guess this is considered like kind of your local horse, right? The one,
Yeah,
the Preakness always has that one that
yeah.
kind of runs in
Scrappy
Laurel.
T.
So he's coming from Laurel. So this is, yeah, right. So this is kind of that horse. Chalky, you're up.
I mean, look at his numbers. I mean, he's running the lead or run right off, and he's not running very fast even when winning. So if he wants to be up near the lead, he's going to completely use the horse, or he's not in the lead and he finishes near the back. So whatever way you look at it, no shot.
Jason.
Yeah, I totally agree. Local horse is just not fast enough.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I do think this is the one horse out of all the outside players, like maybe sneaks into fourth, third. Maybe doesn't ever try to even run a race to win it. Maybe just tries a race to finish in the exotic. So doesn't actually run on the pace. Kind of sits off, lets the two go at it, and then he's able to pick up some of the pieces late or make a first move and hang on late for like third or fourth. Ultimately, no chance for first and minimal for second. Maybe a third or fourth. All right. You got the 6th horse, River Thames. He's 9-2, trained by Pletcher. Jockey is Irad Ortiz. This is a horse we talked about on the pod. He ran in 2 races that we covered, which were the Fountain of Youth and the Bluegrass. Jason, thoughts?
Yeah, I don't mind this horse if he's going to stalk. I think Pletcher kind of pointed him to this race. Obviously, they didn't put him in the Derby. He's going to sit off the speed. For me, he's not doing anything groundbreaking, but he's probably your most likely horse to hit the exacta. Obviously, I don't think journalism could lose, but I'll definitely use him as second and third horse in my trifecta.
Yeah, I mean, this is a horse that I would like to stay away from for second and third, only because he's not going to be value when it comes to odds, and he just doesn't improve. He runs the same exact race from first race to second race to third race to fourth. He's always around that same buyer number. Now you can argue that he runs that race again. Does he finish second? Yeah, I mean, I say yes. That definitely could get you second. I'm gonna take the side that somebody else does improve and they get second, and he runs that same race and finishes third or fourth or fifth. So he's somebody I would try to kind of keep out of the exotics just to get some kind of value.
Yeah.
But to what Jason said, it's nothing wrong with what Jason said. I mean, I agree with that. Chalky.
I mean, I think if you think the pace is going to be on the slower side, he's going to likely get first run ahead of journalism. It's I mean, if I had to pick another horse to win, it would be him, I guess. But I also, for the reasons you were saying, Tom, he's logical for second or third. But as far as value, him, journalism, and then him, there's not a lot there. So, in a multi, I might use him as a C just in case. But I can't play journalism Thames 1-2 unless you think it's a stone cold exacta.
Yeah, and he's actually backed up a little bit in the distance as the distances got a little further. Like he ran his final fraction in the Bluegrass was extremely slow. Found the Youth, he had the lead late, and Sovereignty caught him. So I don't know if distance is his friend either. Not that the Preakness is crazy long, but it is longer than your typical mile 16th, mile 18th race.
I mean, yeah, it's hard to say. McLean's Music ran one race that was a sprint and set that crazy number. So,
yeah, I mean, I'm just going by what I've seen him on the racetrack.
I mean, right. So, I mean, visually he's done that, and then the pedigree doesn't necessarily seem to be there either.
Okay, and let's move on to the last horse that ran from the Derby. His odds were crazy in the Derby too. I mean, I don't know where all the love came from him, and his morning line odds here.
I do know where that came from, but it's probably Chalky's turn. But I'll
so it is the number 7 Sandman. He's 4-1. It's Mark Cassie. It's John Velasquez. Noted here is Jose Ortiz is not on the horse. He moved to a different horse, so that could be something. But Chalky, you're up.
So I think the reason for the betting was A, people that like Metallica, and B, there's a social influencer that is a part owner of the stable of the horse or whatever. It was actually, I don't know if he's a clown normally, but actually he's getting some positive feedback from people in the industry about getting people interested. But anyway, I mean, Cassie's gotten horses ready for the Preakness 2 weeks coming off the Derby. He won it with War Will. Classic Empire almost won it. Got caught at couldn't. The brown horse caught him at the end, right?
Yeah.
I just don't like deep closures in this race where I think the pace isn't going to be blazing. So again, if I don't play River Thames second, I might play Sandman third in a try with a longer price in between him and Journalism. But I can't pick him to win because I just don't know what the race is going to set up for him.
Yeah, I mean, this is a race that, like, it has to be. You look at his run lines, like the only races he really does well. The paces are fast paces.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get an extremely fast. I mean, you might get a decent pacer, but it's not going to be a blazing fast pace. But and you can argue why you don't want to throw him into an exotic because he's no value. But I mean, he does seem like a horse that can easily get third or fourth, especially if the horses do, try to make moves and try to win the races. I think he has no chance to win. I don't like him for second, but I can't toss him completely on the third and fourth line of a try in Superfecta. Jason?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you guys. This is the horse I'm definitely trying to beat for second. I'm sure he's going to get bet again by, people who don't know anything about racing and just follow that kid or whatever. But deep closer, Preakness is not a race for deep closers, I don't think. So I'm totally against him. I'm really going to try to beat him all over the place. But, in some tries, I will have him third.
All right, so let's move to the 8-horse Clever again. He's 5-1. He's trained by Steve Asmussen. Jockey is Jose Ortiz. Like I said, Ortiz did jump off of Sandman and move to this. I mean, to me, yeah, and I'll kick us off. I think between Gold, the one, and this horse, they're the two most logical horses to finish second. Clever again posted a huge number at Oaklawn. 101 buyer, where he just was on the lead and he just kept going. Now he only beat 5 horses in that race. But he did post a big number. It's Asmussen. He stretched out after his quick four furlong race and he won that. Now he was 3 and that almost 4-1 in those baby races at Keeneland as a 2-year-old. So he was respected. He beat a horse that came back, or he lost a horse that came back to win. I actually think this is one that could be also the second choice, when push comes to shove. If people get off of Sandman because he did not run great in the Derby, between him and Gold Warrior, I could see one of them being the second choice. So I think it's just going to be tough maybe to get value, but I do have him as second between him and Gold Warrior in it. Jason?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of what you said. He's going to be part of the pace. I mean, if he's good enough, he could definitely hang on for second. But what if, like, for some reason, goal-oriented decides to stalk and American Promise decides to stalk? This horse is probably almost definitely going to the lead. Like, I don't really think this horse is going to try and stalk.
No, I think he's your pace setter. I think he's
exactly. So what if he gets away? You never know. I mean, I'm not going to bet him to win at all, but he's probably, him or Thames or.
I just think that's a situation where, that if he does get away, Journalism's not going to be that far off.
Yeah,
and
but I'm just saying he'll get away and hang for second.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Chalky.
Yeah, barring some sort of incident at the break, this is the one horse that I would say guaranteed is going to be on the lead. There won't be any games played here. Asmussen's in it to win it. He's going to go to the lead. So if you see what happened last year with the Baffert horse and he's loping along, might be enough to carry it. 5-1 is not an enticing price by any means, but he's one that I would try to use second instead of River Thames or Sandman for sure.
Yeah, agreed. All right, and the last horse is the 9 Gosker. He's 20-1, trained by Brendan Walsh. Jockey is Louis Saez. Jason will let you finish this off.
This horse is going to stalk. He just needs to get faster. He doesn't fast at all. I am going to take a shot with him as my superfecta 4th horse. But he just he's got to get faster. He doesn't seem that fast.
Yeah, Chalky.
Yeah, I'll probably have him in an exotic, not so much that he's going to get faster, but just that some of these other horses are not very good and may not hold up. He threw the bullet at Keeneland about a week or a couple days ago, so maybe they're trying to get some more speed into him. He's probably a third or fourth play if you're doing try and super.
Yeah, I mean, what you guys said, I don't think he's fast enough. I would see Saez trying to probably put a little tactical speed into him early, and he's already not that fast of a horse. I can see that kind of hurting him. He's going to be hung if he doesn't, get out. He might get hung wide because all the speed's inside of him. I mean, even the horses that aren't that good have some sort of speed, like Pay Bills and like some of those others. So it's going to be tough for Saez to get a real good position on him. And topple that with he's not that fast. I don't really see this horse factor, and I don't really like him even for fourth. But I mean, it's 9 horse. If he got fourth, I wouldn't be shocked. Okay. Jason, did you have a trifecta that you wanted to share?
Yeah, sure. So, obviously I'm keying journalism as my win horse. And then I'll throw in 168 over 168 for my trifecta. And the superfecta will be the same, 2 over 168 over 168. And I'm going to take a shot with the 9 fourth.
Yeah, I'll just throw out a quick try. I mean, it's nothing crazy. I'm keying journalism. So I got the 2. Second, I got 1-6, and third line, I threw the 5 in and the 8. So 1-5-7-8. So it's 2 over 1-6 over 1-5-7-8. You get the perfect combination, could pay decent. You get 2-1-8, it's going to pay nothing. So, it's tough. It's going to be a tough race. Chalky, anything?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, play journalism first, play the horse you think is pretty a second, and the horse with the largest time quarters third, and you might get a winner.
Yeah, this is a race that, like, you get a scratch, it really becomes an unplayable race,
Yeah.
a Thames or Clever Again or somebody like that scratches. It's like,
and now if one of the pace scratches and there's only one pace, then that could change the dynamic for sure. But yeah, you can't afford to lose horses here like you do at the Derby.
yeah, I did see the weather is supposed to be pretty nice. So, no rain in the forecast, hot, and so at least it's going to be a good day of racing, just not the quality. Okay. That concludes episode 157. We covered the PGA Championship. We covered the Preakness. I believe next week we'll be back on our regularly scheduled program of Thursday, I guess. I don't know. Quickly, Sixers, any quick thoughts on the three thing? Obviously, NBA is rigged. We all know that. So Dallas was awarded the 1. But Sixers getting the 3. I mean, it's kind of a win for the Sixers, right? Could be a chance to come back a little bit.
I mean, you're not going to get immediate help. Flag is the only one that can give you immediate help. So Ace Bailey is the name you see tossed around the most. 2 Rutgers guys might go in the top 3. They didn't make the tournament. Comparisons to Paul George, who you have already, and Durant, which is probably very far-fetched. Seems like very athletic, very talented, but has a lot of raw talent that needs to be sculpted if he's going to be the pick. So it could be a real boomer bust pick, potentially.
Yeah, I mean, it's a win. They got the pick, and they moved up because, I mean, there was a point where I thought they weren't going to get the pick because 2 teams jumped them.
Yeah.
So that was kind of scary. But then they wound up getting it. They moved up to third. Like Chalky said, it's a 1-player draft to me. Like, Flag is just a star. And then the other guys, I don't know. I don't know do they trade down if there's somebody that really wants somebody third? I mean,
yeah, the one thought I had is maybe you'd use the pick and trade for a real play. I mean, there's been a lot of rumors out
you
there
can do that too.
that guys want to move. So
if you're really trying to win with Embiid and you think he's got 2 years left, maybe you do that. Or maybe you trade down and get the pick that you're going to lose eventually to Oklahoma City back. Somewhere.
But I mean, there's no question it's rigged, right? We all gotta agree that the draft they had a 1.8% chance to get it, and they got it. I mean, come on.
Yeah, something's weird.
All right, episode 157, Broadsheet Hustle. Talk to you next week.